The emulsion valve, the three-way emulsion valve, again, part of our emulsion circuit. This is a rotary valve. It's got a hydraulic cylinder that opens and closes. It is because we want that emulsion in a dynamic state, not a static state. So we want it moving. So this allows, on the back side is the inlet of emulsion into the valve. We've got two heating ports on the bottom. They're coming off of the truck's head to heat up this valve. Before we start operation in the morning when we're running materials, I want to be able to come over here, and if I can hold my hand on here longer than 5-6 seconds, it's not warm enough. It needs to be, 3 to 5 seconds. Okay, that's pretty warm. And that way I know that it's warm enough. It's heating that emulsion so the valve will move quickly. If it doesn't move quickly, we're going to end up having a slow start of one of the ingredients, probably the emulsion, into the mix, and we're going to have a dry start. It's not going to mix. We're not going to have the right ingredients for it to mix properly as we start our mix. So this three-way valve is very important to be able to manage that process. We're mixing, or we're flowing the material in through the back, out this pipe. It comes underneath. It flows back. You see this red cap? This is the pressurized part of the circuit. If we're doing calibration, we'll be that to pump off. And we have this ratchet valve underneath. Squeeze the handle. That is closed. That will prevent any material from going back to the tank. When it's open, when I'm in recirculation, it must be open. I would say a critical part of every startup, even when we're doing training in the shop and we're starting the machine to look at it, two things I always do first thing. I go over and I take a visual at my hydraulic tank and make sure that my two valves are open. I never want to run the material pumps or the hydraulic pumps without oil. Just make sure those are open. Somebody could have had an issue, they closed those with the best of intentions and forgot to reopen them, and we could cause significant damage if we didn't check that. So I always make sure I check my hydraulic valves, my suction out of the tank, they're open. And then I also check my emulsion plumbing. When I first started in the industry, I took an emulsion bath. You really only do that once, and you get pretty good at making sure that it doesn't happen. One of the good things about our materials, this is your cold applied products. So if you get it on you, it's not pleasant, but it's not dangerous like the hot materials. So that's a blessing. But you don't want to get this material, you don't want to have a mess, we don't want to get any on you, and we don't want to cause any damage to the machine. So always make sure when we get ready to start the emulsion that our two knife valves are open and that the recirculation valve is also open. Okay, and we start the material, the emulsion flowing, system's running, everything's warm, we're ready to go. If we're going to do a calibration, then we'll change our valving. But we need to make sure it's flowing and open first. So always check two suction valves are open and that your return side is open. From a safety and health of the machine, you always want to make sure that those are done. Now, let's say we get to the point where we're going to do a calibration. We're going to do calibration of emulsion. In that situation, I'd want to pump the material off. So I've still got my three-way valve recirculating. Everything's good. It's warm. I'm ready to go. I would come back here, turn my emulsion valve or my emulsion pump off. That'll stop that pump from running. Now everything's off. I'm going to do my calibration. I'll come over, I will close this valve. I'll hook up my plumbing here to my off-site storage tank, either another machine or an empty tank of some sort that I'm going to pump material to, and I'll get ready. We'll go to the calibration screen, set the number of counts that we want, and we'll get ready to start. Then we'll get ready to open this valve, and we'll do a 3, 2, 1, open the valve. That allows us to pump the material off, and we're timing it with the valve and the computer so that we get accurate counts on the machine, but we also, with the valve, will prevent us from have siphoning of the material off. That's different plumbing configurations of the calibration will with either I have an external valve on this side. There's things that we're going to do to make sure that we have the best accuracy on our calibration. So this is closed, this is open, and all normal operations, only for calibration of emulsion would we close that. Now, this three-way valve, yes sir?
When you're doing the 3-2-1, what are you timing together? They're opening the ball valve?
We're opening the ball valve as we're pushing start on the calibration in the computer. Again, just so that we're accurate and we have no siphoning of material, and we're as accurate as we possibly can when we're calibrating that material. When we start to get the end of the counts, we'll just have someone here, safety, so that we don't have an issue with a pressurized hose. So we always have somebody here watching this to make sure. So we get ready to the end, we'll do, if we're doing 100 counts, we'll do 97, 98, 99, 100, we close it. Again, allows us to have very good accuracy on our emulsion that we're calibrating off. But now we get into operation. This is all closed, we've calibrated, everything's good, we're ready to make material. We have this cylinder that opens and closes this rotary valve that changes the flow of oil from the suction in the back, or from the pressure in the back to the return on the side, now from the pressure in the back to the flow to the pug mill. So the smaller pipe on this side flows directly to the pug mill, and I'll show you that plumbing. It's a little Y splitter, it goes directly into the top of the pug mill for our mix, very close to where all the other raw ingredients are coming in. On the top of this valve, there is a grease port. That grease port must be, it's about that long, it's a grease rod that is threaded that goes in. You must back that off 3 to 4 turns, grease it, and then screw it in. Most grease guns do not have the power to push the grease down inside of the valve. So unless you're backing that off 3 to 4 turns, greasing it, and then pushing the grease in, screwing it back in, you're probably not really getting grease inside the valve. So that's a very important piece of it. There's a tab on the side of this. We have in the computer system a totalizing feature. We're keeping count of how many gallons of material of emulsion we are pumping off. When we are just in recirculation mode, this tab is forwards. There is an electronic limit switch right here in the back. When this tab is over that switch, it tells the computer to start counting. Because we want the material in a dynamic state, it's always moving. We don't want it counting when we're just recirculating. But when this cylinder opens, it moves this tab over the top of that sensor, and now the computer says it's time for us to start counting, because that means the material is now flowing out this pipe into the pug mill. So we know how many gallons of material we're pumping off per job, per day, per week. We have 3 different ways of controlling and monitoring that information. The cylinder that operates this is limited to 500 PSI. Very important that we understand that. It does fail over time. The system gets hot, the spring gets weak, and we can overpressurize this cylinder. If we see it really trying, this valve trying to push and bend a little bit, it's more than likely that the pressure reducing cartridge is set too high. So either we can readjust it, or we might need to replace it. To do that, we'll just check the deadhead side of the cylinder, the blind inside the cylinder. We'll deadhead that in the gauge, we'll operate it, and if I got 500 PSI, great. If I got more than that, we need to adjust that to keep this just enough force on there to open and close. With the 500 PSI and this valve at a nice, warm temperature, it just opens and closes very, very easily. Yes, sir.
Randy, if I had to replace that cylinder, when I put it back on, is it important to have this cylinder stroked in the closed position and adjust that clevis to keep from trying to pull the valve towards the center of the body?
Absolutely. There is the adjustable clevis on there so that we can adjust that. And you'll see this is a unique clevis. It's made specifically for this application. You're going to be able to thread that on there to your point, Billy, that when it closes, it just perfectly closes. We don't want to pull, we don't want to put any stress on this three-way valve. We want to keep it just so that it opens and closes easily, and that there's no pulling or pushing on that valve, and you'll get very long life out of it. It's a great valve. It's got the heat jacketed core on the bottom of it. There's only one seal, it's a Teflon seal in there. It's a great valve. Simple, does exactly what we want it to do. When we see failures to it, it's either we're not greasing it, or we're just over pressurizing, we're bending this thing and causing it to fail. The emulsion plumbing on the back is, there's a steel pipe that comes off the back, but there is a cam lock with a hose that comes down, and you'll see the hose comes back over here to the pressure side of the material pump. That used to be rigid pipe. We made it a flexible hose that with cam locks on it, just because of real life situations where something goes wrong emulsion wise, or maybe we just had bad maintenance. We left the machine sit for a long period of time and we didn't clean that out. Being able to just pull the hose off and bring it out and work on it to clean it out or replace it is a lot easier than trying to heat up and drain steel plumbing that's underneath. So it's a very nice additional tool that we've added, again, designed by operators for operators. It's key. Thank you.